You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Today, Jane, we're going to talk about the current state of affairs with the real estate market and how surprisingly it is still vibrant.
Oh, Ken, I can't believe it. And back a few months ago, the market showed very signs of a slowdown a little bit because it's first of all slow inventory. Secondly, the interest rate went from last year, January, 2 point something, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8, all the way to 7%. That was a huge jump in the 12 months period or less than 12 months period. And the Fed went up increased the interest rate for 7 times in 2022. However, I mean, today is not a debate whether it's right or wrong, right? I understand why we need to control the inflation. I went through or read so much about inflation. However, in 1 year or less than a year, the market went up so much, definitely made the chaos in the real estate, right? So, but the good news is now somehow I think the market is coming back a little because back 2-3 weeks ago, I was advised our client to put a house on the market. They said, no, let's wait till spring. I said, don't wait till spring because based on what we read, it seems to me the Fed going to increase the interest rate on February 1st. It's not a question whether we increase the rate or not. The question is by how much, right, Ken?
Right.
Either 25 basis point versus 50 basis point.
But even if the Fed does increase the interest rate, I think the one of the key factors is that the buyers and the sellers are acclimated. They're prepared for it. It's not like you're going now. You're not going to. It's not going to have the
like
lenders.
Last year,
the lenders I've been speaking with have said that no matter, regardless of whether they raise it or not, the market is already braced for the change. It's not going to be a shock and awe like it was when it went from below 3% to up to 6%. Now, I think the forecasters are that the market is going to hover anywhere in the range. The interest rates for lending are going to be in the range of the 5s to the 6s. It's never going to go, at least from my understanding, it's never going to go beyond the 7.
So, I would say they may go up and down, fluctuate.
They'll fluctuate.
But they wouldn't be, just permanently above 7, right? Even last year, they went up to 7 and then went down to, mid 6, high 6, and then they went down again. But the story I would like to share today with the listeners is what happened the last 2 weeks, a weekend, right? We had owner want to put their house on the market in spring. So I said, well, let's do it as early as possible. Based on last year data, the house went on January, February, March, got most of the money. So let's just put it on the market as soon as possible. And especially we try to get a contract so the buyer can lock in the rate once the contract is accepted, so before the February 1st Fed interest rate hike. I understand what you're saying, Ken, but based on last year data and our experience, even though the pricing, the interest mortgage rate is already reflect that, but it still fluctuate, right? So I always feel the week before the rate going up, right? The rate always slightly going up a little bit. And then after the announcement, they stay high and then give a few days or week and they're coming down again. It's like, it's like a little pattern here I observed, And obviously we have a listener have a lot of more experience in mortgage and please let us know your comments. But based on what my observation, I suggest client to put a house on the market. So last week, we put a house on the market, the week before actually. Suddenly, we had so many people coming to see the open house. We put a house on the market on Friday.
Could I say, was it reminiscent of the COVID era in terms of the volume or close to it with the lines and the number of people? And how many people did you have, for example, on an average to the open house?
Yeah, back last year, it's not this like a huge. Best last year, we lost count. But since the end of last year, early this year, the demand definitely is not as strong as last year. So I anticipate maybe 8 family, 10 family, that's already a lot, right?
Sure.
We put a house on the market on Friday, And we had a Friday open house, 3 to 6. We didn't really expect much. We thought, people nearby, so they may want to see the house. But we had 17 families. So each group of people is, pretty much average 3 to 4 people in each group. We had a 17 families. And then Saturday, we had an open house. I thought, because we had a pretty good yesterday, Friday. So Saturday, we had 27 families.
Right.
And there was and it was so cold the weekend. And I have to ask a lot of buyers wait in the car because it was truly very cold outside. So I said, better wait in the car. And I haven't seen that energy for a long time.
And what's also notable, Jane, is I believe the house you're talking about is in a higher price bracket. It's not the median range house. So to add, that adds to the demand that is out there. This is a much higher price, $800,000 house. And normally in the quote unquote pre-COVID times, you'd be lucky if you get 3 or 4 buyers to that to look at that, consider that price range house.
Absolutely. Open house at that time, you're absolutely right, Ken. Before the COVID, for that kind of house, that price range, normally we get 3 and 4 families for open house. They'll be really good. And before the COVID, we never had a Friday open house. We only had a Saturday, Sunday because, there's just probably nobody come. So we tried the evening open house at the summer before the COVID. It didn't work out. So we never did it until now the COVID start. With the COVID, we start to have a Friday or evening in summers. The reason is we cannot accommodate so many people in the home. We're still in the COVID. We still want to make sure to protect the visitors and the owner, make sure everybody have a distance, they're safe. So we only allowed, regular size home, probably 1 family at a time. And this is a big house, 3,500 plus square foot. We allowed 2 family, 1 second floor, 1 first and plus the basement. So there was like nonstop. The people they came even early, 12:30. And I didn't finish until 5 because people, they lying, in line there. And Sunday, still the same thing. Sunday, 17 families Sunday. So they're still pretty strong. Yes.
Right. So overall, you had several hundred people set foot in the house from the Friday evening open house, including the Saturday and the Sunday. So in that volume of people. So that tells me that currently the market, at least in Central Jersey, is strong, given the interest rates and given the fact that there's not the inventory is very low, but there's still that heightened demand for luxury homes, these are all encouraging signs.
Yes, very, very encouraging. And I had another house before 2 weeks before I put on the market, and that was like below 6, that was, the home. We had a similar, but not as many as the last weekend. And at the end, we realized that because the interest rate went down below 6, it's like a mid-5. So that's really boosted so many buyers out there looking. And this still very strong. And at the end, we had a multiple offer, and the old offer at the end is above asking. So we had a above asking, and we started a review. Basically, less than 48 hours. It's like a day and a half. We're under contract. So that showed me the market is strong because the buyer really don't want to lose the house. So they want to finish review as soon as possible so they can lock in the contract.
So isn't that amazing? I mean, that was understandable during the COVID era because the interest rates were suppressed so low that people wanted the house and they were willing to go over asking price. That's understandable. But it amazes me that in this current market with the higher interest rates in the mid 5s to the 6s, that you're still achieving bidding wars. Besides the demand, there's still a bidding war, and buyers are still willing to pay over asking price just to secure the home that they want.
Yes, I mean, I think Ken, because the interest rate dropped below 6, mid 5, that's really no difference before the COVID. So it seems to me the market going back to there's no such a thing called normal, right?
Right.
But in a way, it's going back to the more like the past, the trend.
Well, let's talk about that. You've been in the residential field for
14
years. So I know there's no such thing as normal, but prior to the COVID, was it common in residential practice to have bidding wars? Or it was once in a while it would occur, but during the COVID it became the norm.
Yes.
Now, but we're seeing that, I guess, at least with the few homes that are on the market, it's becoming more like the norm, it seems, than the unusual factor.
Yeah. I have to say, Ken, before the COVID, when we have an open house, first of all, average open house for the people to come is like 4 to 8 family. I would say that's already pretty successful open house, right? Mm-hmm. If they have a 4 to 8 family, depends on the price, depends on whether there's anything going on. If they have a football going on 2 o'clock, you'll have less people, right? Once again, I take my word back.
Well, I'll tell you though, that last weekend, I believe that was one of the most popular weekends for football because there were games Saturday and Sunday, and it seemed, if anything, you got more people going out. Maybe because the New York team got eliminated for that, and that was a Saturday night game, so that did affect the open house visitors.
Actually, more people on Saturday came
because they were excited about the Giants winning, but it didn't work out quite.
As you said before the COVID, pretty much 4 to 8 families coming. I mean, you asked me whether they had a multiple bid. I mean, I have to say, always multiple bid. Even 2011, 2012, right? Even the bottom of the last cycle, there's sometimes nobody wanted the house. When suddenly one wanted, everybody wanted, just like children play with toys.
Sure.
You don't want it, I don't want it. You want it, I want. And sometimes my buyer was amazed, Jane, you sure the listing agent tell the truth? Because the house was on the market for so long, nobody wanted. Why suddenly, right? And then sometimes it happens. Suddenly everybody walked out and they want to buy the house. But however, in the lower market, the bid is maybe below the asking. Say if the asking price is $450, they have a multiple offer, but may not be like a bid crazy. You're lucky, you may have 2 offers, 5 offers. That's pretty much already very successful bid if it's more than 5 offers. And most of the people would bid 8 asking or below. That's in the low 2011, 2012. But after 13, the market came back. So the bidding is a little bit stronger, but they're not going so crazy. Maybe 4 asking price or 5 or 10,000 over, that's already it.
Okay, sounds good. We're going to pick up with 2013, 2014. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. We're taking a walk down memory lane, recapping the market from the mid 2000s and up through now we're at 2013.
Yes.
Because we're just so amazed how the housing market is still strong as we're in January 2023. So let's go back as we picked it up with 2013, Jane, if you want to.
Yeah, I think towards the end 2012, right? I believe there were quite a few Wall Street group, right? They had a fund.
And they're still out there.
Now they're still out there, very strong. They started buying the house.
Sure.
They're still buying the house. They start to bidding on take over the foreclosure, and so the market, start to vibrant again. And they rehab them, they rent it out, or they just flip them. So at that time, I think 2012, 2013, majority property was just refinished and renovated, and they rent it out. So later on, they may sell some. And however, that practice until today. Now, I just had another property which is vacant for many years. There was quite a few fund, management to bid on the house.
I mean, Wall Streeters are coming to bid on it, sure.
To bid that. So because the Wall Street involved and also individual investors woke up in 2013, because the thing is, right, people always worried if tomorrow going to further down and then what happened, right? So, but once you see the market coming back, just like stock, right, you want to buy at the right point, but nobody buy the cheapest, nobody, can time it. So as soon as they see the market coming back in early 2013, a lot of individual investor jumped in.
Right, and that's the difference. Sorry to interrupt, but that's where real estate is like considered a medium tier investment. It's a little bit riskier than bonds and money in the bank, but it's less risky than stocks because you have brick and mortar, you have something tangible. Stocks you could go to dust completely, whereas with real estate you should get appreciation over the time, or if it doesn't appreciate, you at least have something tangible in the brick and mortar that you can resell. So that's why real estate in any portfolio you want a blend of investments depending on your lifestyle, your age, but real estate should always be incorporated as part of that portfolio.
That's right. It's not only like a strong asset there, I mean, it doesn't, as you mentioned, it doesn't really disappear. Also, it's a good tool to hedge against the inflation, because the rent, is a good tool to hedge the inflation. But coming back to real estate, 2013, 2014, 2015, 16, 17, the market is a steady going up. So, but not crazy, just a little by little.
How much percentage would you say on a yearly basis it went up? Not
it's
crazy,
hard to say yearly, but I think from 2005 to 7, after that market, when the hike from 2008 until 2012, I think roughly, obviously it depends individual how much you buy and good and when did you buy. But on average, I believe the market went up 20 to 25%. Say in 2022, if someone called me and said, Jane, I want to sell my house, and I bought my house 2006, my heart sink for them. I will say, you know what? I mean, I just want to
cry with them.
Yeah, I just want to. Right. Yeah, I just want to let you know, if that's the case, most likely your home price is about 20-25% lower than what you paid for at that hike, right? On average, obviously. So at that time, depends on circumstances. I recommend a lot of owners just rent it out, and instead of take the loss, because if you had a 5-10% down payment, and then if you sell at 20-25% lower than what you paid for, obviously you have to bring money to the closing table. So that's not good feeling. So at that time, that's why we had so many rental property we represent.
Sure.
About 100, 150 in the past. So that's before the COVID. But after COVID, everything just so crazy. Nowadays, I told a lot of clients is when you ask me how much your house worth, I can help you with that. But that may not translate how much your house will be sold for, really. That really depends on that moment in the market. For example, if you ask me how much your house worth, back in February or May or July, there will be totally different number. They're all still in the summer season, but spring and summer season, but it really depends on interest rate and the buyer's confidence in the market. So that's really, very important, the timing. Once again, I always say for the seller, it's three, the top ingredient is the timing, and the timing. The timing of the market, timing of your life, and the timing of the buyer's desire.
And oftentimes sellers want to compare their house to the neighbor's house, but then that relates to the timing and the interest rates too. They say, well, the neighbor down the street, they sold for $650. My house has got X, Y, and Z. It's comparable, and it's got an addition. It has an additional bedroom. Therefore, I should be getting $30,000 more. But that's not necessarily the case. It all depends on the timing, the interest rates, the supply
market
demand
condition.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
absolutely. And that's one of the biggest things, I think, as a list agent, when you go on listing appointments, you have to convey to the sellers, even though they may be disappointed in hearing that, but that's the reality, right? It really depends.
Absolutely. That's our job too, as a professional, regardless you're seller agent or buyer agent, it's absolutely our professional, our duty to inform our client the current. And we should give our client regularly update on the market. So what's going on? Having said that, in the this year, next year is going to be more challenging because market change very fast. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank our clients. And 2022 was very challenging. And with our clients' trust and the support, we were ranking #1 in East Brunswick, 8 years in a row. And
Wow.
we really thank you, the people, for their support. And also, we're ranking #4 in Central Jersey MLS in total production, and #2 in Central Jersey, according to Central Jersey MLS, as a listing agent. So I have to say, from bottom of our heart, we really thank our client. We thank you for your trust. And often people ask me, the agents or the clients ask me, what's the secret of achieve this remarkable result? I would say, first of all, we care about our client. We always go extra mile about our client, for our client, right? Always have our client interest at first. Always, always, always try our best to help them. So they trust us with their home. What is home? It's not only a property. It's where you raise your family.
Yeah, it's like as we said, it's the backdrop of your life.
Of your
It's
life.
It's where you raise your family, you experience your joys, your tears, your laughter, all the things that
all
make
the
up
memories.
life.
Everything of your life. So they trust us, Ken, with their home. That's really fueled. Ken and I get up very early in the morning and to do our best for our client. And secondly, as an agent, you got to have the skills. You have a heart in the right place. That's great. But without the skills, you cannot help your client. You have to understand the market, understand the home by visiting more homes, see more homes, not only on the computer. Like, yet last night,
Sure.
right, a client called me, asked how much their house worth, right? Because I represent the seller at that time a few years ago. Just on the phone, I pretty much tell them what I think today's market, what I think roughly the range, how much their house will go for, explain to them, what's the component of today's market. You, as an agent, you have to understand. You have to make sure, sharpen your skills, your negotiation skill, your research skill, and the extra care to your client.
Right. You always have to have your finger on the pulse, whether it's
Yes.
residential or commercial. You have to be out there. You have to see what the market is. You have to go visit the homes, visit
Yes.
the commercial properties, and know the market, and then have the passion, and then always, and most importantly, probably do what's in the best interest of the client. And sometimes that might be saying no, advise them not to buy a certain property
Or
because
not
it's not
sell.
or not sell because it's not in their best interest. So that's the things you have to have: the passion and the skill set and the mindset
Yep.
to be.
I think also equally important is compassion. You got to have your compassion for your client and also for the other side, respect and compassion, right? I mean, as an agent, you work for our client, but you still should treat the other side with respect.
Of course, that's that's one of the articles of the. There's 17 articles for the Realtor Code of Ethics,
Yep.
and that's one thing you owe your confidence and your loyalty to your client, but you owe a duty of fairness and honesty towards the other agent and the buyer or the seller, whatever the case, whoever the opposition is.
Absolutely. So if you have any need for real estate need, your family or friend, please keep us in mind, give us a call, and we would love to meet you in person and to share our experience and the current market and our strategy. And I'm sure you won't be disappointed. My cell phone number, 732-322-2908. Feel free to reach out to us, and I would love to hear from you too and your thought about the real estate market and in general. So that would be a really, really great to meet you guys one day. And I really want, once again, we really thank our client. We, as a Mueller team, we sponsor a lot of community events. That's all because our client, because they support their business, so we are able to give back to the community, right? I mean, the more business we do, the more we can help to contribute back to the community. That's really appreciated. So, I mean, last 14 years, that's a great journey. From a brand new agent, I really thank to a lot of clients that time, give they had a faith in me. I mean, to be honest, Ken, I don't even know I have a faith in myself as a new agent.
And there's always got to, and everybody goes through this in life, whether you're a new doctor or a new lawyer, somebody's got to be the first client and put the trust in you, the surgeon who gets the first house. Somebody has to be the first one. And thankfully you had a client that trusted you with their house. I think 14 years ago, that was your first listing. And that's still a loyal and satisfied client today.
Yep. They're still with me until today. You know, a lot of time can, right? Think it back, right? I mean, 14 years just like it went so fast. It's like yesterday. And at that time, I used to knock on the doors. You know, I remembered knock on the Society Hill in East Brunswick and Cross Point Lake. I knock on doors. And I still enjoy looking back as the water journey.
Yeah,
it's really,
I think with most people that are successful, it's when you reach a certain point, that's sweet, but it's always the journey that's the most enjoyable. Getting
that's
there,
right.
The road
that's right.
the road up to up to your current achievement. The memories and all the the sweat and the hard work to get you to this point.
Absolutely.
It's very when you talk to a lot of people in different areas, whether it be sports, it's always what are you looking for? Which one is your best Super Bowl? And you would ask like Tom Brady, he'd always say the next one. Because it's always they want something to continually strive to achieve.
Yep.
So
I have to say, Ken, I still feel the juice inside me, and I just can't wait to go. To meet a client, open house. I mean, I just love it.
I got good news for you. There's still 11 months left in 2023, and there's about 4 to 5 weeks in a month. So you've got open house possibilities for, if you do the math, it's like 11 times 4 or about 44
absolutely.
Times. Actually, no, more than that because you do them Saturday, Sunday and Friday.
And the
so
summer,
the 3 days
evening.
a week. 3 days a week for all those,
Yeah. I really, once again, we want to thank to our client from bottom of our heart because of you and everything become possible for us.
Absolutely. And we also want to thank our listeners who are listening to this station for their support. And we hope we're sharing some useful and meaningful information for you. So, okay, we're out of time for today. We'll see everyone next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.